Now, most of the people on the face of this earth study, and in fact, if you're watching this, then you probably studied since you were a kid, whether it was maths or science or history or whatever other subject. You devote a certain amount of time and attention in order to gain knowledge of an academic subject. Now, there are different ways and different methods to study. Some of them have been proven to be a little bit more efficient and a little bit more effective than others, such as active recalling. And some methods have been proven to be less effective, such as just opening up a book, a huge textbook, and underlining and highlighting whatever you see in front of you. But hopefully today I'll be explaining to you guys how I'm able to study 4 hours every single day consistently. And I've seen so many people on YouTube do 10 hours, 12 hours, 8 hours, and that is honestly amazing. But that would be something like my approach towards exam season. But the way I think about it is that I want to make sure that I know everything before the exam season comes out. And for me to do that, I thought about this 4-hour technique where every single day I'm studying 4 hours to make sure that I can also prioritize other things in my life, such as tutoring, spending time with my family, taking care of myself, of my body, of my soul, and all other stuff that I also have to do. And I also want to make sure that I get the knowledge. For example, I know what's happening at my course, at my degree, and I'm getting all of that knowledge and I'm preparing myself for the exams without having to burn out too much. And this is like this strategy that came up with the 4-hour revision session. Now, the way I want to break this video is into 2 sections. The first section, I want to talk about the reasoning and the thought process behind this 4-hour study every single day. And the second part, I just want to talk about the motivation, how to actually go through these 4 hours and how to actually not just motivate yourself, but to start off with it, because a lot of people find it hard to keep something consistent. And the second thing is to make sure that they actually get started onto this. Now, the way I see this is that every single week we've got 7 days, which is basically composed of 168 hours. And if I spend 4 hours every single day, then that will amount to 28 hours a week. And the way I do this is by having these 4 hours a day and dividing it into 2 blocks. So I've got a 2-hour morning block and a 2-hour evening block. And also the way I think about it is that within this 2-hour block, I will have a 5 to 10 minute break. And this break is just for me to just relax, have some water, use my phone, just to get rid of that stress and anxiety that comes up. So again, I would make sure that the revision session goes from 9 to 11 or maybe slightly longer, or from 10 to 12 and slightly longer than that. I wouldn't like to start around 11, because the way I think about it is that if I start at 11, I'm probably going to finish a little bit late, around 1 or 1:30. And what's going to happen is that is around lunchtime and I've got another revision session coming up. So I want to make sure that these revision sessions are spaced out evenly and properly, so that I have that time in between to not stress or worry and, you know, just procrastinate or whatever I do in my free time, and to make sure that when I come back for my second revision session, I'm energized and I'm pumped. One other thing that I want to do is that within the morning time, I want to make sure I go through the principles, the fundamentals, all of the key concepts of the stuff that I have to do. So within my lectures, when it comes to physiology, anatomy, I want to make sure that I learn the heavy content in the morning. Reason being is because my brain is active and I can whiz through it at a very high speed, and I can make sure that I understand the principles and the fundamentals within this certain topic. Now, bear in mind that sometimes I do have to compromise, and what I mean by that is that some weeks I might have content that is too hard to understand within the 28-hour period, and maybe I've got too much work, coursework, exams, and some weeks might be that I don't have much to do, and that's because the lecture notes and the lecture slides are fewer in number and they are easier to understand and grasp. So that will depend. So the 4-hour every single day does depend, and it does vary, but it's about keeping that consistency where throughout the week you're doing like a minimum of 4 hours of revision every single day. And one more thing that I wanted to mention is that sometimes, even though you might be in your holiday or you don't have much work to do, you can still keep up this 4 hours a day revision by making sure that around the time that you normally do your second block, maybe you go back and you learn something different. So for example, when I'm a little bit more free, I might spend some time learning a little bit more about philosophy, maybe some languages like Arabic, Japanese, and just spend some time learning more about history or things that you are normally interested in. So always try to keep that 2-hour block, try to keep that block where you learn something, and it doesn't necessarily have to be related to your degree or your subject, but something that you're interested in and something that you can actually learn something that may benefit you or someone else in the future. Now, to get myself actually started, one thing that I do in the morning is I wake up early, I go to the toilet, do wudu, pray fajr, and then just relax, chill, make myself some breakfast, eat, drink some water, relax, procrastinate, walk around, do all of the things that I want to do, go on my social media, maybe speak to a family member of mine, just relax, speak to my friends, check all of my messages on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of that stuff, and get rid of all of the pressure, all of the stress, all of the things that may come to my head. So when I'm here on my desk around 9 o'clock or 9:30 or 10 o'clock and I'm ready to do my 2-hour revision session, I've got nothing stuck at the back of my mind because I'm not worried, I'm not anxious, I'm not feeling any stress, and I'm activated, I'm energized, I ate, I've got all of that within myself. And the next 2 hours, all I'm focusing on is about putting myself a timer, a 2-hour timer, and just doing all of this stuff and just learning anything got to do with my module, going through my lecture notes or whatever, because my mind is actually focused and I know what I want to do those 2 hours, and I know what I want to achieve within these 2 hours, because everything else that is outside of these 2 hours of revision is gone. I've already sorted it out and I've got my day planned out, and that's the way I think about it. If you wake up around like 9 o'clock and then you decide to like revise 10 minutes after and you haven't had breakfast and you haven't done anything and everything's still in your mind, I feel like you might not be in the right mental state to make sure that you try to be as efficient as you can possibly be within your revision session. Also, talking about having a timer, I think is crucial and I think is extremely important. Reason being is because the way I think about it is that having a timer, you know exactly how much of the day you're spending revising, and over time you will come to a point where you know how much you can learn or to what extent you can do the work within that specific period. So you know that within 1 hour, 2 hours, you might be able to go through 20 lecture notes or 20 slides. So you understand a little bit more about your abilities, and you can also put that through the timer and kind of try to compare yourself and see whether some topics take more time to understand, some topics take less time to understand. And also another thing is that after that 1 hour, you might take a little 5 to 10 minute break, and you need a timer for that, because a lot of people, what they do is that they might be taking a 5-minute break and they end up taking like a 15-minute break, and that ends up messing up the schedule and their motivation and the willingness to go over and do that extra 1 hour. Now I feel like that my issue is towards the evening, so that evening revision session for 2 hours, because I know that from 5 o'clock onwards I'm going to be tutoring, I'm going to be doing lots of stuff, I'm going to be a little bit more busy, so pushing myself to do that 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, that 2-hour revision might be a little bit harder. So the way I think about it is that, okay, I'm going to start off, if I'm feeling good, I'm going to make sure I do these 2 hours, and I'm going to be doing something easier, such as watching videos, going over through my revision notes, go over the pre-recorded lectures, things that will not make me feel tired or things that will not burn out. So for example, learning new content will probably make me burn out and my brain is just going to start to get more tired and less motivated. So try to do something that's easier towards the evening session. And another thing is that towards the evening session, if you can't do that 2 hours, the second trick that I would use to still force yourself to get the work done is by saying to yourself that rather than putting a timer and doing 2 hours, you're going to give yourself an amount of work that you want to complete. So I would be like, okay, let me do 25 lecture slides, let me do 30 lecture slides. So what will happen eventually is that I might do this 25 and 30 lecture slides, but that will actually end up taking 1 hour 20 minutes or 1 hour 30 minutes. So those are the days where I might be too tired to get that revision in, but I still need to force myself. So rather than cutting down the time, I give myself a specific amount of work to finish. So I know that I can get this much work done, and maybe it doesn't matter if it takes me 1 hour 20 minutes or 1 hour 40 minutes or even 2 hours. It's about getting that work done, and most of the times I will just end up getting that work done within less than 2 hours. So any extra time I get is just for me to relax and kind of just be there with no stress and no worry. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and most importantly, I hope you guys benefited from this video. And again, keep in mind that different people are different, people's got different priorities, different issues, different goals, but the most important thing is to make sure you got that structure and you got that plan that best suits you, and you can basically go through your studies and everything, and you can be in a position where you're happy and you're also making that progress, and you can see that you're getting closer and closer to your goal each time. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, if you did, maybe like, comment, subscribe, share it out. Also let me know maybe in the comment section below how you revise, how much you revise, or whether you found this video beneficial, or any improvements or anything you want me to do in my channel next. Anyway guys, I hope you Enjoy it as always, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, and as always, peace.